There's an ancient question that's been lingering in my mind lately. What is man's aim? Does he want to predict the future, to control his destiny, to protect his family and fight evil? Or is there something deeper he's striving for? After going through the countless texts across history, I stumbled upon a secret treasure haven. Pierre Ouspensky's In Search of the Miraculous, a work which reveals the teachings of a spiritual master by the name of George Ivanovich Gurdjieff. Gurdjieff believed that man is not free, but a machine, enslaved by the mechanical laws that govern the world and himself, far removed from the will of the Absolute. Hence, one's primary aim should be to be one's own master before anything else, for without this, nothing else is possible, nor has any value. So how do we escape this mechanical life? How do we begin to truly live? What I learned is that liberation isn't found in resisting these laws, but in understanding them, because the laws that govern the world are the same laws that govern us. And what if the journey begins by knowing ourselves, by unlocking the instruction manual to our own human machine? But how can I break free if I don't even understand what binds me? The answer I'm beginning to see lies in a single phrase: know thyself. Now, you might be familiar with those words coming from an ancient philosopher by the name of Socrates. But what if I tell you that these teachings actually lie the basis of many schools and systems which are far more ancient than the Greek philosophers? However, modern man only has a vague idea of its meaning and significance, because the principle, know thyself, speaks of the necessity of knowing one's machine, the human machine. Therefore, before knowing anything else, one must study the structure, functioning, and laws of his organism. In the human machine, everything is so interconnected that it is almost impossible to study any one function without studying all the other functions. And to know everything in man is possible, but it requires much time and labor, as well as the right technique under the right guidance. For only then can one attain true consciousness, which Gurdjieff defines as a state in which man knows all at once everything that he in general knows, and in which he can see how little he does know and how many contradictions are there in what he knows. Gurdjieff believed that man is not free, but he is a machine, enslaved by the mechanical laws that govern this world. Hence, according to him, one's primary aim should be to be one's own master. For without this, nothing else is possible, nor has any value. So after studying my fair share of esoteric archives, I've observed a repeating pattern that reveals man's ultimate aim to possibly be immortality. But then Gurdjieff asked the question, how does one exist after death? Well, for this it is necessary to be. For if a man is changing every minute, then there is nothing in him that can withstand death. External influences change and we change along with them. This is meaning to say that all of our eyes die and it's replaced by a new set of eyes. Hence, if a man is able to develop in himself a permanent and unchangeable eye, then this alone may be able to withstand and survive the death of the physical body. And through this alone, he may be able to become immortal. Hence, by studying his own life and the lives of other men from birth to death, he is studying the laws that govern our birth, death, and immortality. And by becoming a master of this life, he might be able to become master over death itself. But the problem is, man is a slave to almost everything that surrounds him, whether it's social media, that TV series or anime that you get hooked on, the words or ideologies of a certain person that you look up to, or even much darker aspects such as addiction, greed, lust, and many more. It's almost like a prison system which has so many levels to it, and the moment you get out of one level, you just end up in another level. And there's a new set of rules and a new kind of enslavement that you're subjected to. Therefore, freedom and liberation must be the primary aim of man, even if he's a little bit conscious of his position. Because let's face it, there is nothing else possible for man if he remains a slave both outwardly and, more importantly, inwardly. You have to gain inner freedom first before you can gain outer freedom. And now we come to the first reason for man's inner slavery, which is his ignorance, and most importantly, his ignorance of himself. You see, without self-knowledge, true liberation is impossible. Without a real understanding of the working and functions of his machine, he cannot govern himself. He will always remain a plaything to the forces that surrounds him. That is why all the ancient teachings at the very beginning enforces this primary axiom: know thyself. This is because in order to know the future, one must know the present and the past in all its details. If one has thoroughly studied what happened yesterday, the day before, a week ago, a year ago, even 10 years ago, one can unmissably say what will happen in the future. He says what happens or may happen depend on three primary causes: accident, fate, and will. Such as we are almost entirely dependent on accident, and accidents cannot be foreseen. Hence, we have no control over our own life, and everything happens by accident. If a man at least can overcome accident and enter into the realm of fate, then perhaps he is influenced by the planetary intelligences and cosmic forces. And if a man is able to go beyond that, then he might be able to impose his own will and actually predict and control his life. This goes back to one of his fundamental principles that Gurdjieff says, that man has no permanent or unchangeable I. At every minute and every moment, a new I appears to him, based on a new thought, desire, sensation, or impulse that takes over for the whole and represents for the whole. Man has no individual I, but instead separate small I's, hundreds and thousands of them, which are mutually exclusive and unknown to each other and often contradict with each other. Each minute, each moment, man is saying or thinking I, and each time his I is different. Just now it was a thought, now a desire, now a sensation, now another thought, and so on, endlessly. Man is a plurality. Man's name is Legion. By studying the work of this brilliant author, Fyodor Spensky, and the teachings of Gurdjieff, I was able to access and discover another aspect of myself, which was laying in the hidden unconscious. And now I'm able to see clearly and remember who I am, my thoughts, my emotions, my desires, and everything can either be limiting myself and keeping me away from truly knowing who I am. For if I can find my true I, my true self in a Jungian way, I might be able to access aspects of myself that otherwise would have laid dormant. And through this journey, I was able to overcome a lot of slavery that I was keeping myself in without actually even realizing it. So I hope you can also get something from this video, and I hope to see you again next time. And remember, don't be afraid to be a fool on this journey and take destiny in your own hands.